Well, Twitter has been flooded with tips for the state of the nation. This is Tonight. I'm Bruce Whitfield, and tonight we provide our own. Joining me is Prince Mashile, who's an executive director at the Centre for Politics and Research and a member of the Midrand Group, and Thabo Toyi, photography student and practitioner who happens to come from Orange Farm and is also, can I call you an activist?
Yes.
Where's your red beret? So you fell for the first trap.
Not that kind of activist.
No, but you work in your community. You're a community activist. You're spreading your influence in terms of positive reinforcement, helping people become entrepreneurs. You're doing that kind of work in your community.
Yes.
Give me a sense of what the temperature's like in Orange Farm and other areas where you spend.
Look, in a general perspective, everybody's disgruntled, especially young people. I mean, everybody is seeking employment in one or any other form. But I think everybody's like, there's a sense of optimism, I guess, especially with the young people that I work with. We're trying to get into the creative industry more. I think the general perspective in terms of politics, well, that's anybody's guess.
Is politics still relevant?
Within the young people, not so much, but I think it does play a very decisive role in terms of like how other people engage, especially how we engage to our elders, how we talk to other people. I think it plays a very dominant role in society in terms of how we live, but how we interact as young people, no, not so much.
Are any mainstream political parties, Prince, talking to Thabo?
Yes, the EFF is targeting Thabo's group, but we need to disaggregate. Within Thabo's group, I would argue there are two sub-groupings. The first group is the children of the middle class who are studying, who are students, who are hopeful about life. Upon completion of their degrees, they hope to find employment. That's the first group. Then there's the second group of the unemployed. They are also Thabo's age. They are hopeless. They have fallen by the wayside in terms of our public education system. Those ones are not optimistic about life. They're the ones who are causing mayhem in townships in the form of the so-called service delivery protests. So they don't look forward to the State of the Nation address because they know that come Thursday, Friday, they will be where they have been before.
Now, does the State of the Nation address mean anything? It used to happen during the day, and then the presidency went, no, more people need to be at home to watch the State of the Nation address at 7 o'clock in the evening. Aren't there soap operas and nice things to watch at that time?
I don't know about soap operas, but
there's got to be something better to watch.
Well, music shows maybe, but I think with in and amongst young people, the State of the Nation, I think it has lost its impact. I mean, they've been making promises year in and year out. I mean, I've listened to like 5 State of the Nation address previously, and I think the last one, I think that I probably remember, was the 2009 State of the Nation address where the president promised 1 million jobs, but at the end of that year we lost about 500,000 jobs instead of creating more jobs, which really just was like bubbles, basically. We were just speaking bubbles, I guess.
You've written, Prince, you've written State of the Nation addresses, haven't you, for Thabo Mbeki?
Well, I participated in as part of a team that wrote State of the Nation addresses.
What is the philosophy that goes into it? Okay, guys, we're not doing particularly well, let's lie to them? Or is there a genuine, let us massage this information as best we possibly can to give the best possible picture?
The key question is, let us be honest about where the nation is. So there's an attempt on the part of the drafters of the State of the Nation address to understand the feelings of South Africans, the experiences of South Africans, and say, how best do we capture the way South Africans...
Thabo says you did a lousy job. It was irrelevant to him.
Well, he referred to the 2009 State of the Nation address. I was not there. It's an example. But I mean, if you remember the State of the Nation addresses presented by President Thabo Mbeki, they used to be taken quite seriously. And I think that we succeeded back then in capturing the mood of the nation. I know that they were presented during the day. People would make an effort even to steal time from work to watch what the president would say. I share Thabo's skepticism about later State of the Nation addresses. I think that the current president is very bad at delivering.
But you listen to content, okay? So even if you got Thabo Mbeki to deliver the present State of the Nation addresses, would they be any more impactful?
I think they would be less impactful. I mean, let's be honest about it, because you see, you can't spin reality. Under Thabo Mbeki, you would recall that South Africa experienced the longest period of growth under economic growth under Thabo Mbeki. So when you said that the future looked bright, that was supported by reality.
And people could believe it.
People could believe it. But today, if you say the future looks bright, when people are experiencing hardships as a result of e-tolls, as a result of unemployment, and as a result of general corruption in government, people can't believe you. That's why Thabo is no longer interested in the State of the Nation address.
This Thabo is no longer interested in the State of the Nation address. The other Thabo, I'm sure, would love to deliver another State of the Nation address. What are you going to be doing tomorrow night at 7 o'clock, between 7 and 8 o'clock, roughly? Will you be watching?
Probably not.
Okay.
I mean, like the organization that I worked with, we're currently busy with the Power of 50, where we're trying to introduce 50 young people into the creative industry, and that's what I'm basically focusing my attention on.
I cannot tell you how pleased that makes me, because it suggests to me that young people are making choices, no longer feeling obliged to go and watch boring political messages, but actually taking the future into their own hands and making a positive impact, Prince.
That is a very positive thing to hear from Thabo. It actually tells us a true story of a normal society. Normal societies don't sit and watch TV and clap hands for politicians. Normal societies are comprised of people who do things for themselves in their own small and big corners. That's what normal societies are all about. So to hear this suggests to me that our society is normalizing. Politicians do their bit, citizens also do their bit.
What will make you watch next year's State of the Nation address?
Change.
What kind of change?
A lot of young people are very disgruntled, like I said, with not finding jobs. But then if we can implement change that would see not only certain pools of society benefiting from whatever the president had set up, but actually the entire mainstream society, if they can come up with one policy that could affect the entire youth base, I think that's when I would sit up in attention and listen to what he's listen.
This is worth an hour of my life.
Yes, basically, because I would want to participate in trying to maybe help and contribute in my small little corner in trying to make sure that I make society as much productive as possible, and to see less of what we're seeing today, basically, with a lot of young people being disgruntled, a lot of them like participating in such illegal activities like that we see in like today's news.
Absolutely right. I mean, when you look at it, Prince, what does the president need to do in the 2014 State of the Nation address to grasp the public imagination?
He must not try and spin reality. The reality is South Africans are unhappy. They are unhappy because there is a general perception that government is corrupt. And unfortunately, there are allegations hovering over the head of the president himself. So he must be honest and truthful and say, I know that South Africans are unhappy about corruption, about governance, and I know that all of this unhappiness contributes to a sense of pessimism about the future. Now, we as government, we're going to be honest and we're going to be serious about dealing with what makes South Africa.
I'm sorry, I've stopped believing you already. I mean, you're writing the president's speech, but I'm like, whoa, no, he's spinning.
Well, what else can the president say? Do you think the president can stand before Parliament and say, I know that you are unhappy about me, I'm resigning? Certainly he's not going to do that.
So that might get him to watch next year.
Would be a great
I'm sure if the president were to do that, Thabo and his friends would celebrate. But I mean, we live in a world of reality. The president is not going to do that.
He has too much to
The best he can do is to acknowledge that South Africans are unhappy. If he doesn't do that, I think he will be rendering himself irrelevant going to the future.
I think just acknowledging it would be just one thing, but doing something about it would actually make us sit up and listen.
Can the State of the Nation address impact voting patterns on the 7th of May, in your view?
Not in my opinion, no.
So people they've made up their minds. They're either going to go for the ANC or against the ANC in some form.
Basically, I mean, it's up to each and every individual. But for me personally, I don't think anything he says tomorrow is going to influence me otherwise. I mean, I've already made up my mind based on the 4 years that he has had to implement some change. I mean, there's nothing you can say right now that can actually create change until the time where I see the elections. I mean, really. I mean,
and does Nkandla feature in your discussions? What are the primary focuses of young people's discussions in disadvantaged areas? Is Nkandla even a feature? Or is it
I think
even more basic than that? Is it more about our needs?
Nkandla is hovering above every single discussion. I mean, it's just one of the things that we have seen throughout the years. I mean, Nkandla, the e-tolls, I mean, the lack of opportunity for young people, especially in terms of entrepreneurship. A lot of people are crying about, you know, the amount of red tape to actually start your own business. I mean, some of the people that I know have actually gave up on their dreams and started their own businesses because they've been discouraged. They can't source funding, they can't access government resources in order to try and establish businesses. They can't find some sort of like mentorship programs that the government introduces. It's only in certain pools of society where those are provided. So it's really, for me...
But you got the National Youth Development Agency, haven't you?
That is run by a couple of...
I'm being sarcastic. But the point is, government will tell us it's got all of these fantastic structures. You go, they have no credibility.
Look, I think those structures are good where they are, but I think they need to be reviewed and enhanced. And I think we as the youth need to be empowered in terms of us having a say as to who we want elected in that position. We don't want another, for example, ANC leader or DA leader to govern that structure, because we know that if politics is generally going to influence that.
Meritocracy. I mean, with a bit of merit coming through?
I think so. I think so. I mean, if it's an individual who is elected by the general youth public, then we would have a say as to, we wouldn't actually be in a position to blame any other political organization for that.
Now, I'm not sure how our producers found Thabo, but if anybody suggests that young people in South Africa are complacent about their future, Prince, if Thabo is typical of a young person in South Africa, you what, 20?
25.
25? He's not that young. As a 25-year-old, I mean, at 25, I was more complacent than he was, than he is right now. South Africans are not complacent about their future, and that is exciting.
They are not complacent about their future. They cannot afford to be complacent about their future because they are aware that they have a future to live now, and they are aware that that future is going to be influenced by current circumstances. So they know what they want in life. Now, they transform that awareness into political action. I am sure that they have made up their mind in terms of whether they will vote for the ANC or they will try some alternative. So they are not complacent. The question is, what kind of politics do they engage in? They may not actually speak the same language as Julius Malema, but they have their own content of politics that politicians must try and understand.
Yeah, it's a tough job, but it's certainly one that politicians need to get a handle on in the next 3 months. Prince Mashile, Executive Director at the Center for Politics and Research and a member of the Midrand Group, and Thabo Toyi, photography student and practitioner, community activist par excellence, who's not going to be watching the State of the Nation address. He's going to be making a difference in the lives of 50 other people close to him. Perhaps that's a worthwhile way of spending the evening. Thanks for watching. There'll be more tonight, tomorrow. Good night.